Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. So many people are piling in here as we speak. Really cool seeing everyone from all over the country, and thanks for everyone posting your brands and links. Feel free to keep doing that. There's going to be people joining in for a little while, but we're going to go ahead and get started because this is being recorded. So even if you join late or miss any of it, as long as you're registered for it, you'll get the recording. And it's we're also streaming this across various social platforms. So a lot of you are watching this in Crowdcast in the webinar software here. But if you're watching this on LinkedIn, Facebook, where else is it streaming? YouTube. It's all over. Feel free to ask questions there as well too. We have people monitoring social channels, and they'll be posting the questions here, and we'll try to answer them live on air. So wherever you're watching, feel free to ask your questions there. We'll probably address most of the questions at the end, but if there's one that comes in that's very topical to what the question is, we might address it during as well. So give me 1 second here, get my screen up, and then we're going to introduce our guests. It should be, here we go. So let's, okay, so super honored to have some wonderful guests here. The focus of this webinar is about subscriptions, specifically in the food and beverage space. We're going to be doing a series of these with different verticals. Even if you're not in the food and beverage space, I guarantee there's going to be some takeaways here today, because running a successful, value-packed membership, the principles apply across a lot of verticals, but there will be definitely some things specific to food and beverage. So I'll just kind of go from left to right here. I'm going to go on the board. I have Trae, who is CTO of Metabolic Meals, and he tells me some people say his name wrong. I don't know how that could happen, but apparently it could happen. Trae, you want to just quickly introduce yourself and tell us really quickly what Metabolic Meals is?
Sure. I'm Trae Halkitis. I'm the CTO for Metabolic Meals, so I handle the tech, both client-facing for our customers and also internally for our manufacturing operations. And Metabolic Meals is a fresh, chef-prepared meal delivery company in the United States. We deliver to all the Continental 48, all out of St. Louis, Missouri. Fresh meals directly to your door.
Yeah, and we're actually going to go through the site a little bit later and walk through some of the description. But yes, okay, perfect. The links are in the chat there as well. Definitely check out the site, and they're actually in the middle of some updates, which we'll probably maybe talk a little bit about some of the philosophy behind that. So next up, I have Hamid. He's the VP of e-commerce for Liquid Death, and Liquid Death, I would say, is one of my favorite brands as far as the marketing message. I think one of the best Facebook ad I ever saw was from Liquid Death. It was a screenshot of a text message that said something to the extent of, what are you guys doing? This is your messaging is horrible, telling people they need to sell their soul for water. You guys are idiots, something to that extent. And you guys took a screenshot of the text message, you turned it into an ad, and then the ad just said, our water's not for everyone. And I loved it. I love that positioning. I love that you take that stance and you say it's not for everyone. If you haven't heard of Liquid Death, check out their website so you get retargeted by their ads, because they're great. We enjoy them. I mean, can you quickly introduce yourself and just tell us briefly what is Liquid Death all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Liquid Death is a bottled water company just intended to bring more fun to the water space, but also certainly to the CPG space that I think has issues with a lot of brands just kind of feeling and looking the same. We're just always trying to find like a fun path. We sell currently in the US and in Canada through our site and Amazon, and we're in roughly 20,000 retail doors now across the US and growing pretty fast.
Awesome. Thanks for joining. And last but not least, we have Chris George. He's the co-founder and chairman of SUBTA. And I'll give a quick little pitch for SUBTA too, because I'm actually wearing a SUBTA shirt, which I was recently sent, and I'm a proud pin-carrying member, which I'll have to get on. So SUBTA, well, Chris, I'll go ahead. What is SUBTA, and what's a quick background on you?
Yeah, for sure. By the way, Tiffany, I saw you from Detroit. That's where I'm from, so great to see you on. So I was formerly the co-founder and CEO of the Gentleman's Box, which was a subscription box for men. And from there, we went on to starting SUBTA and SubSummit, as we wanted to facilitate the community of direct-to-consumer subscription brands. So we built the largest community in SUBTA. It's a resource to go to find webinars, workbooks, content on how to grow and build your subscription business. And we also run the largest event in the world in SubSummit, which brings together all the leaders in the D2C space. And Bold is a great partner, so thank you for that. And again, happy to be here.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. We're like I mentioned earlier, we're a proud member of SUBTA. We'll be at SubSummit. We can do a quick little call out for that. I think you guys are still taking registrations. It's at the end of September. The URL is subsummit.com, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
September 21st to the 23rd.
Right. So all the information, someone can probably throw that in or it might be in there. If you go to subta.com, there's definitely links there as well too. So great resource, and I think what you guys have done at SUBTA is really admirable to just help subscription brands, because it makes such a positive impact. Like, that's one of the reasons why we're so passionate about subscriptions, is it changes a company, like the value and the stability and everything. So you guys are doing great things. Let's jump right into it. The reason this, or I kind of like, not the reason, what this is kind of built on is we recently put out a guide, a subscription guide on the food and beverage space. There's a lot of takeaways in there, a lot of insights, examples, how different brands are doing things. But we wanted to bring a few, and I think we actually have both. So I'm pretty sure both of the panelists, there's some examples in there, or they're mentioned. But definitely have a look at that. It's free to download. It's kind of what this is based off of. It's looking at the food and beverage space and what successful subscription brands do, because it is different. It's different in the beauty. It's different in health and wellness. It's different if you're a pet subscription. It's not all the same. There's a lot of unique challenges in food and beverage, a lot of opportunities, but also definitely some challenges. You're dealing with perishable items, and you're dealing with a lot more challenges that don't happen in the other verticals. So let's jump into it. Jump this slide over here. The first one I wanted to pull up was, in general, food and beverage subscriptions are doing really well. We had a recent survey that we did. It was a study across all of, well, not all of our subscription brands. We took the data from all the brands and we surveyed 800 of them personally. And food and beverage subscription brands are actually doing really well. It's a space that is growing quite fast. People are expecting to have their food and their beverages on subscription. It's becoming a little bit more of a norm. My questions for the guests here, I guess I want to start with Trae and Hamid. Let's start with Trae. You know, this last couple of years has been very unique. There's been a pandemic. There's been a lot of changes. What's it been like for Metabolic Meals over the last couple of years?
So it's been really interesting since the pandemic started. You know, when it all kind of hit in March of last year, no one was really sure what was going to happen. We knew that our infrastructure already existed to handle an influx of orders if it were to happen. You know, we're already shipping food across the United States. We have all the safety protocols within our facility, the duration that the CDC said that food and transport had to maintain to make sure there was no virus at all existed. But I can definitely tell you pleasantly that it did pick up our business because people were like, we need to get food. This is a brand we're familiar with. We know we can ship to their doors. You know, we have a broad variety of meals, so allow people not to get you know, taste fatigue. The marketplace was really overwhelmed with, like, you know, everyone trying to get into food delivery using Uber Eats and DoorDash, but we were really able to kind of elevate our presence and increase our actual customer base because we were a trusted product in the industry. So the pandemic did lead to growth for us over the last year and a half, 2 years.
Hamid, how's it been for you for Liquid Death?
Yeah, I mean, definitely on our side too, as I think as the brand has grown, like, it's gone from Liquid Death being like this water that you just try to now it's like the water that replaces all the water in your household. So almost like a delivery service, if you will. So coming around the pandemic, we made a lot of steps to, one, help and just eliminate some of the friction that we had around bulk buying, whether it was one time or subscription. We actually launched a special called the F Corona special, about 2 weeks after the national quarantine, which basically brought down our bulk quantity limitations down to about 5 cases. We saw a huge influx in that. And with that huge influx on the one-time side, we definitely saw a nice spike on subscriptions as well, just for people wanting to stock up. And the thing that we saw, from March leading into the summer months where it's hotter, people are drinking, consuming more beverages, is just that pattern just kind of continued to accelerate. We now have a little bit over 30% of our revenue coming from subscriber business. And it is really just because it's become the water replacement inside the household for our still water. For sparkling, those are more kind of like occasion-based moments where people are using that as a replacement to like a soft drink or a sugary drink. And in that case too, we've seen a nice like lift as well, as more people are at home consuming content at home around friends and loved ones. So it's definitely been a nice spike for our business March ongoing.
If you took the pandemic out of the equation for the last couple of years, is there anything, any lever that you've pulled that has really helped growth? Like if you could identify, we all have a ton of different marketing initiatives and different campaigns. Has there, if you had to eliminate all of them, has there been one thing that has been a big driver for you?
I think our kind of silver bullet moment is, we are a bottled water company, but we also have about 70 SKUs of merchandise. So we have 2 SKUs of water right now. So there's only so much you could say marketing message wise with 2 SKUs of water.
Right.
We definitely press that, but especially within CRM and our email and SMS list. We've built out this merch business. It's growing and it's thriving. And around November, December of 2019, we just made a conscious decision to move subscription away from being more of a percentage off model to you get a free Liquid Death shirt when you subscribe. So we're in this like world of less promo, more gift with purchase to give value to people, and also just to have a deeper connection with our people and our fans. And that's been a huge driver for the business. I mean, we had over 100% lifts in subscription business. And I think the thesis early on was people are going to get their shirt and they're going to churn out. And that hasn't happened. As people get their merchandise, it actually makes them more loyal. People are adding on cases to their subscription. It's become a bigger hook for new visitors once they arrive to the site to see that they can get a free shirt versus just a 10% off.
Chris, what's your thoughts on that? I'm curious if you're seeing like versus like the heavy discount versus the giving something.
I mean, look, it's definitely the right way to go. One, the quality consumer is higher because they're spending the same amount they normally would on the first purchase versus like a discounted. Like a lot of these brands will do like a discount first purchase, and so then there's a chance that they're going to churn because they got the great deal. With Liquid Death's case, Liquid Death, right? Got one here, by the way. Thanks for sending over. That's smart because not only are you giving them a T-shirt, you said the apparels or the clothing, the merchandise is cool and that people like it, but now they're like walking around and like a salesperson for you, right? Like they're a walking advertisement for you. So, and you probably have this high perceived value on the shirt, which would have been more than the savings they would have got on the subscribe and save. So all around, that's a great move. And I think that's if brands did more gift with purchase, they would see higher quality consumers. They'd see less churn. Like even when you're going into like this Black Friday season, right? Like instead of doing 50% off, throw like a $50 value item in there. Give them a gift with purchase. You're more than likely going to save. The cost is going to be less, and the consumer is going to get a higher perceived value.
Yeah, and there's been studies done that people are more likely to convert on something when there's a gift or a bonus than if there's a discount. Discounts, I guess, are just kind of table stakes and it just happens all the time. It doesn't have the same thing versus there's the visual aspect, there's the gift, you're getting something. So I think that's genius.
One thing you consider is you have an exclusive shirt that only goes to subscribers.
Yeah.
We're working on it. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, good thought. We're definitely working on that. And I think like with subscription, it's, we're trying to figure out like what does membership mean to us in a world where, acquisition costs are rising across the board and everyone's trying to figure out a thing. I think for us, it's like membership is kind of the counter attack to that. And we kind of have that. Like we've got a really rabid fan base. Like we've got 50 people now who have tattooed our logos on their bodies.
Come on.
Including our first face tattoo, which happened about 2 months ago. So there's definitely a fandom and a loyalty to this brand beyond reason, because again, it's a commodity.
That is amazing.
But yeah, I think membership is like in subscription and exclusive items as a part of subscription will be definitely kind of next phase for us.
Does someone get a free subscription for life if they tattoo their logo on you?
we give them, I think, something equivalent like a half year's supply of Liquid Death, whatever that means. Yeah,
They should.
That is amazing. That is awesome. Trae, how about you? When you look back at the last couple of years, taking any growth fueled by pandemic, have there been any initiatives that you really like? If you had to single something out that has worked really well for Metabolic?
Yeah, since we've always started as a subscription company, so we've always had memberships. So for us, it was more on the lines of taking our early model, which was basically a reoccurring box of meals based off of 3, 5, 7 days a week, 2, 3 meals a day, and really dialing into what our customers really wanted, and created what's called our My Choice plan, which is very similar to Bold's Build-A-Box, where basically you come in every single week and you pick the meals that you want, and those meals are delivered. So the big growth for us there was giving the customer more control over what their subscription meant to them and the variety of meals they have. 5-week revolved menu, 30 different meals each week, new meals added with each product cycle refresh after 5 weeks, the ability to get free shipping once you got a certain amount of meals, so giving you some goal to reach within your product offering sales. We actually launched that several years ago, and within a few months, doubled our business. Like it eclipsed the sales of our regular box subscription very quickly. And we went from being known as a company that sold, the box of meal to reach the goals based off of 3, 5, and 7, to this company is basically an on-demand, online, fresh delivery company. I can get any meals I want with a variety of quality and products and taste, not quality, delivered to my door. So being more focused on what the subscription meant or membership meant to the customer, that dynamic change, that really spurred our huge growth over the last several years.
That's interesting. So now as a percentage between, you call it Chef's Choice and My Choice? That's the
Correct.
What's the breakdown look like now between the two different options?
So I'll give you kind of a compare and contrast. When we started the My Choice plan, the first couple of months there, it was like 90% Chef's Choice, 10% My Choice. Now over the last several years, it's been 90% My Choice, 10% Chef's Choice, and it's growing exponentially. You see that the normalcy of you ordering food online has definitely helped in us really kind of cultivate what that My Choice plan, that on-demand plan really needs to be. So we sell easily 90% more than we would of our Chef's Choice plan.
That's amazing. Chris, across the board, SUBTA has a large membership base. Are you seeing more food and beverage brands start up? Is it staying consistent and you're just seeing existing ones growing, or any observations there?
Yeah, look, I don't have exact data. I think the pandemic accelerated a lot of this, right? Hyper growth in the food space, also bringing more brands into the food space. Look, that kudos to both of you guys. That's a hard industry, and especially in the metabolic meals, right? There's a short shelf life.
Thanks.
So it's a big struggle for starting as much as I know about subscriptions, if I had to start another one, I probably wasn't going to start. I'm not going to start a food one, right? Because there's just so much more that goes into it.
You're not supposed to be saying that on this webinar, Chris.
But the truth is, what ends up happening, and I think you've got a slide around this where you see higher churn, but the truth is, you start to get these lifers, right? So while you might have high churn, you get this percentage of consumers that now we're I don't eat unless this meal shows up. And now they become super loyal to the brand. It's a lifestyle change, right? And then you look at Liquid Death, it's they've got this community. And those are two really good things. You got community, you got a lifestyle change. When you get a lifestyle change, that's a recipe for success. And so I think you saw more come into the space because people are at home. And then with the pandemic, it accelerated everything, but especially in food and beverage, right? Because people needed stuff delivered. People weren't comfortable going to places. But then outside of it, right, people want to be more than ever, people want to be healthy, right? 80% of the things you watch on Instagram and TikTok is somebody working out.
Exactly.
Be healthy and having a transformation. So this is this makes sense. And so I think that you're going to see the ones that are going to succeed are going to be the ones that are going to provide the best experience provide an experience and value. And Jay and me talk about this a lot. It's outside of just the product, right? And so the ones that are going to do that are going to see the most success and have the best opportunity to succeed.
Yeah. I want to touch on something you said. Subscriptions, food and beverage subscriptions, and we do have a slide coming up, but just to touch, they do see higher churn. But I think if brands listening right now, you need to understand that there's like 3 sections of churn, and most people focus on the initial churn. And if you're running campaigns, Facebook, Instagram, mass emailing, depending how you acquire your customers greatly affects the churn. If your number one source of new customers is referred by friend, it's going to be very different than if it's you run a big promotion by email, your churn. But there's the initial churn, that initial drop off. But then once customers make it past that, there's the second segment. They've made it past the initial, they've become a customer, they've kept it for, that's probably 3 to 4 months. It's really important to monitor the churn after that, because they've got through, they're a customer now. Are they going to be around for years or months, or do they drop off after 9 months? Like, that would be more what I would be concerned about, is that second stage. The beginning stage, you can throw millions of people at your landing page and get tons sign up, and you might have 95% churn in the first month just because you're throwing a ton at it. And maybe that's okay, but the second stage, are they sticking around? And that's a really interesting thing to monitor that a lot of people don't. They just look at churn as a whole. So just wanted to touch on that. Let's jump to the next slide here. This is actually a quote by you, Chris. So I'll read it in your voice. No, just kidding. This quote, you said, if you're a brand, you need to build a subscription model or membership into your revenue stream. Brands that have this model will show higher valuations, more predictable income, and most importantly, more customer loyalty. So, Chris, what do you mean by building membership into your revenue stream?
Yeah, so, I believe every brand can, I don't even know if there's an industry, but maybe outside of like medical, and even in medical, there can't be some sort of membership or subscription model, right? And so building membership allows, one, for you to build this like brand loyalty. So let's say even if you have a restaurant, for example, like you could offer a membership model that gives you access to the front of the line, gives you preferential treatment on reservations, gives you access to the bar first, and maybe gets you 10% off the food and drinks every time you go, right? And now that becomes like a brand loyalty. And so when you're doing that and you're thinking, where am I going to go eat this week? Like, it's a higher percentage chance you're going to pick the place your membership at, right? You got a client, that comes in town, and let's say it's a really nice restaurant, and you're a member there, and like you're going to go to that restaurant because you're going to walk in and they're going to say, "Hey, Mr. George, like, thanks, so great to see you," and like you're going to get this immaculate service. So that's a big part of it. And then two, it's like this predictable income. I mean, it's just proven time and time again. There's enough data around it that brands that have subscription revenue or recurring revenue are getting higher valuations. You hit more than 10 million a year in ARR, you're getting like this 5 to 10x, which is like a typical e-commerce is going to get like a 1.5 to 3. So it all around it makes sense. And I think it's the way some of these CPG companies can compete with the big box, right? Like, how do you stop the big elephant in the room? How do you stop Amazon? Like, Amazon's going to sell everything we sell for cheaper, and they're going to ship it to you faster. You build a membership model, you build a loyalty, you build a subscription model that allows you to provide a experience that you can't get on Amazon's level, right? That Amazon couldn't get on your level, and then it allows you to sell these consumer products and build an experience with them.
Hamid, what does, at Liquid Death, when you guys think about membership, what does that mean to Liquid Death?
Yeah, so right now we probably could be doing a little bit better job on the membership side of things. We have a membership program called Country Club, and Country Club basically it was really just intended to be like an email and SMS acquisition hook to give an offer, get as many addresses as possible, and it really became like our biggest growth driver, organic growth driver. And what it really is you sign your soul to us for eternity in a legally binding contract that we have on our website. And as a part of that, you get, in the beginning days, it was like you get a free case on your first case order, or now it's you get a free t-shirt, and we'll build that out even more to have like exclusivity around merch items, specific items that are just for Country Club. And so for us, like, we kind of have luckily walked into like a loyalty fan base and a group and a cult here behind this brand. And now we're just trying to put more meat around like why people should join it. And then subscription will be a part of it. And so membership for us is probably like the #1 strategic initiative for next year. As we try to just figure out, you know, in a rising acquisition landscape world, like membership is going to be a bigger piece of our business.
Yeah, you're very well poised for it. Like I feel there is membership to your brand, and without you haven't actually sold it, but people are tattooing it. Like there's clearly people crave membership, and when you can find a way to monetize that and turn and it's win-win for the customers. You're not taking advantage of the customers because you're giving them members. I actually prefer being a member, and I prefer subscribing to products because brands know me better. They have better data on me. They can give me better recommendations. They typically treat me better because I'm more valuable to them. Like members have higher lifetime value to a brand. So customer service is generally better. So I actually prefer being a member than a one-time customer, and I don't mind paying for it. So Trae, how about at Metabolic, when you guys think about membership and building that into your revenue stream, how do you guys think about that?
Well, that's basically how we approach our subscriptions. We really don't call them subscriptions, we call them memberships, and it breaks down to a couple different components. First one, like you said, is personalization. You know, we're here to create this rich experience for our customers, but also a rich level of knowledge about our customers, so that we can make things a little more personalized. Another thing we work on really well is community. And that could be something as simple as our customers love to talk about our product in their regular lives, but also we run a closed community through a Facebook group, for example, where customers can talk about their product, about our product, ask us questions, have individualized experiences with choosing new products that are coming down the line. Real feedback going directly to our team of executive chefs, our R&D chefs, our product specialists, all coming in direct communication with us through that group. So people feel like their opinion really does matter because we're really taking it and we're product developing based on it. Another thing we love to do that's part of our membership is we want to be able to give more than just a product to our customers. It's a whole information experience. So if you've been to our blog or our mailing list, you'll see that we give a lot of nutritional content that's about the whole wellness industry as a whole. It could be workouts filmed with brand ambassadors or our CEO or some of our employees filming these workouts, blogs on ways to better improve sleep, better improve anxiety. We're probably the only food company in the entire world that did an article and a series on intermittent fasting, basically saying, hey, eat less food, but also eat this food because it's going to get the best experience. So giving customers like something like Chris said, they're non-tangibles, but they have a lot of intrinsic value to them because people can use the information to overall better their life. So building on that, we try to be a resource for our members so they can come to us with any questions. We actually offer full nutritional consulting with specialists on staff that you can set appointments with to kind of work through your meal plan better, knowing the meals to choose for specific goals. You need a low sodium diet, or you need to have a diet that's more focused on PCOS. You can reach out to us and we can help you kind of build this customized menu from our meals so you can feel comfortable you're hitting all of those goals each week. And that kind of folds into our last kind of tent pole for membership, which is we really look at our customer service as more of a concierge service. They're there to help you. They're not there to make your life difficult. They're not there to get in your way. They're there to find solutions for your problems. For example, you call and say, we don't offer a lot of discounts on our product. We just don't go that route. We're more of, hey, we are what we are. We're very good at what we're doing. We're going to help you a lot with this. You get a lot. The quality kind of speaks for itself. So customers will come in sometimes and say, hey, I love your food, but I'm not sure if I can do it every single week. Well, that's totally fine. Our team will work with you to find solutions with the tools they have to give you your best experience. So membership for us is more of a communal thing, allowing people to feel part of the process because we're always I know it sounds cliche to say this, but we're customer facing first and we're customer forward first because food's very personal. So if you're not really kind of investing in people and what they need, You're trying to get them to buy something they can't see, taste, or smell until it arrives. So you got to really make them feel comfortable with who you are so they can then proceed that way.
Were you always a subscription? Did you ever offer it as one-time purchases? Or
No,
is it
we started a subscription for the main reason that Chris brought up is, when you're a small company, when we started, we were, of course, very small. There was a very small number of us. And you have to grow. You have to count on continuous revenue. Going out there and acquiring a new customer every single week because you've lost the previous one because they're a one-time sale doesn't really work in food subscription, because you got to acquire fresh ingredients and prepare that, package it, and deliver it. So knowing that you're going to have, 90% of everyone from last week continue on, and an increase of another 15% of new customers allows you to have that continuous revenue you need to constantly scale and grow and be a little more comfortable in the business decisions that you actually make. If we started off as a single-time purchase, I'm pretty comfortable saying we wouldn't be here talking to you this day, because we wouldn't be allowed to kind of understand the industry, understand our customers, and evolve and grow.
Hamid, were you ever only one-time purchase, or were you subscription since the beginning?
Subscription since the beginning, and for a VC-backed business like ours, there was always ideas, because as most of you who have or have ever tried beverage business, it's heavy to ship beverages online, right? So like a case of Liquid Death weighs about 15 pounds, right? So a lot in the early days, we were like, as we talked to investors and our teams, we're like, what if we just went subscription only? And I think when you try to force something and not give options, especially for a brand that's called Liquid Death, that no one's ever heard of, and that we market the way that we market, it just probably wasn't the best way for us to move forward. And so, yeah, for the first year, we gave options. We were running the 10% off deal. And then like towards the end of that first year, as we started to see like, hey, we have some momentum, and we have people who are getting into what we call auto death, which is our subscription product. And they're staying there. Like, how do we just put more meat on the bones of this? And so some of that we've done kind of technically and programmatically, where it's like, yeah, we get people on subscription and it's great and whatever. But now we have our CX team who will basically go in there for our VIP subscribers and just like send them little notes with their like next thing. And there's like a personal touch on it. The way that I think we market this brand is like almost like a wrestling character putting on a persona, but it's still someone that you would like to talk to at a bar. And there's just like an element of personality to this brand that people really connect to. And so that's been a little touch that we've added to this business as we've kind of grown subscription, is like, how do we just inject a personal touch to it in a way that you wouldn't necessarily like maybe expect every single time from a subscription business? Oh,
yeah. I mean, I think when you see people shotgunning a can of water, like shotgun, I mean, that's the pinnacle of water branding.
Yeah.
But I want to say this too. Like I've learned a lot about water in the last year, and I always thought drinking some like distilled water was as long as it was clean was healthy, and I found out it actually if it has no minerals in it, it actually pulls minerals from your body. Exactly. The water pulls it out, so you're actually doing harm by drinking really purified distilled water. And Liquid Death it's not just good branding, it's really good water that actually comes from springs deep under full of minerals, right?
Yeah, we work with this. He's like the world's only water sommelier. His name is Martin Rees. He's actually on this Netflix special that Zac Efron is on.
Zac Efron.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's where I heard about this concept of minerals. So that's so
totally
funny.
Yeah. So if you see a brand, and there are some big brands out there with crazy market share, that it's just processed and purified municipal tap water. Yeah. And the more you see a stamp of purified or vapor distilled or any of that stuff, it is just tap water. So yeah, you want your water to have some taste, some TDS, and the quest to like try to get your water to a 0 is probably the wrong thing to do for your body, for sure.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, definitely. It's I can't remember the name of that documentary, but Zac Efron. Do you remember what's called? He goes around the world, different places.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but it's great.
Whoever watching, just Google. There's Zac Efron on Netflix, and the one where he goes to this water sommelier, and there's like the water's thick, and they taste it like wine, and it's really interesting. Enough about water though, but I just thought I would throw that out there. Throwing up the next slide here. We actually recently put out a ebook. It was called 7 Subscription Models to Master. It was we looked across roughly 20,000 brands using our subscription software, and we kind of like lumped them into categories. We kind of figured there was around 7 in the food space, and if someone can throw a link to that in the chat, it's free to download. You can grab it. Basically, what we did is we looked at the 7 different models and what brands are doing to win in each of those models. And it's important to know which model you are, because there's different value to the customer. But in the food and beverage space, they definitely fall. There you go. Into 3 that we've noticed. It's replenishment. That's what you think of when you think of subscribe and save. It's the same thing over and over. There's the subscription builder. Some people call it build a box. That's probably very similar to the My Choice that Metabolic uses. And then there's curation, which is your box every month, but something different in it. It might be teas, it might be coffee, it might be something, and they don't know necessarily what they're getting. These are the 3 main ones. Let's start with, actually, Chris, let's start with you on this one. Across your membership, do you see any of these particular subscription models doing really well, or maybe being more challenging for some brands? Or if someone's getting into food and beverage subscriptions, is there a model you like?
I mean, look, the most prevalent is subscribe and save, right? Because you're replenishing something that they're using every single month. So more than likely, that subscription has lowest churn, has the highest lifetime value. And again, those businesses just across the board, whether it's food and beverage or not, subscribe and saves have a lot longer LTV, a lot better LTV and lower churn. On the curation side, there's that surprise and delight, and that's why it works. But that's also like the first one to get turned off when they can't afford something, right? It's not something they need every month. I think on the build a box, that's starting to build a lifestyle. What's nice about that is that they're sort of customizing it in some form, which is going to allow them to stay on for long, because it's more than likely they're going to like the product because they picked something from it, right? So you're going to start to see some hybrid, right? Like you could see a curation box that's like, hey, pick 3 or 4 of the items, and then like we'll surprise you with 3 more. With metabolic meals, it's like the consumer's picking these meals. So it's like less likely they're not going to like it, right? Versus if it was a surprise. And then again, that's how I break it down. It's like this curation's like the fun surprise every month, but I'm going to cut it out first. Subscribe and save is filling a need. And the build a box is allowing more customization, which is going to allow me to stay on for a little bit longer.
You just inspired me to, I don't have the data on this, but I want to find it out. If when you said curation, the box of the months, they're fun, but they're also the first to be canceled, because it's not like a conscious decision to subscribe to something. It's a surprise every month. We can run the reports and see, but I bet you, my assumption is that's absolutely true. Versus something I've picked and I need and I want, versus the fun box of the month, which is not that something I need. It's something I want, and it's fun. So, Trae, I was going to ask you.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
you go.
I was thinking the things to consider with that is like the curation in a lot of cases might have higher margin, right? Because like they're getting things, whether it's like on a marketing sort of like somebody's putting it in there, like they're putting a sample in there, so you didn't pay for it. So your margins might be better, which can counteract that less churn and the higher churn and the less LTV. But so I don't think like when I'm saying that means one or the other is bad. It like just depends on what kind of business you're building, right? And it just all that factors into how you build it and what the churn or LTV might be, and then what your churn tactics for recovery are, your proactive churn tactics, right? Like if a curation box, you see on average your box is churning on the consumer's churning on month 5 or 6, well, do something on month 5 to keep them to stay on. Throw an extra item in there, like give them something of value, So that's just the way you have to do that.
Trae, we talked a little bit about this earlier. I wanted to ask you on this slide about your builder model, but and was it always that way? But as you mentioned, like you actually have both aspects, and you've seen the huge shift between them. Do you have any aspects of curation or access or anything else in your membership or in your subscription?
Yeah, actually, we do have a level of curation. So we have an AI engine that we built, and it's always measuring the metrics of who a person is. So that's how often they order, where they live, how large orders are, and it's taking into account all of the metrics that are on each one of our meals. So building this very rich profile of who an individual is. So we have the option for our customers to just let that kind of take care of it for you. So you can log into your account, which is something we're going to launch with our new Bold platform. Plug. When someone logs in, they're going to see their curated plan or selection of meals at the very top. So they will see that, this is what the system's going to give me. I'm going to go ahead and take it. Right now, our customers have the conversation with us. They kind of build out what that profile for them is. It looks at our order history. And then the customers that take advantage of it, they let it kind of run each week. And each week, we average around 97% success, and customers really liking what they receive. They can call in and say, you know what, I really didn't like this dish. We can flag the account and say, okay, for this go around here, don't do this dish. So it allows us to bring in a level of curation for those that want it into that My Choice plan, that Build a Box plan, because it is another way to make it a little more hands-on. I would say it's probably somewhere in the realm of maybe 10 and 12% of our customer base. A lot of people just like to have the control. They want to come and do it themselves. But it is an option now that's going to be more front-facing with our new site, where you can just see what's going to happen and just let it run. Because yet again, like Chris is saying, if you like something, you're going to stay on it. So if you learn that this great little system picks meals you like, you're going to let it do it, because you're not going to get that taste fatigue, because it's going to be something different with each subsequent order.
And people are better at editing than they are at creating.
Yes, that is true.
If you give someone a mock-up or a design of something, they can edit all day long, but you ask someone to create. So if you only have to edit your meal plan, they'll probably be a lot more satisfied customers.
Real quick, what helps with that as well, Jay, is the fact that we have a lot of great filters. So we have good filters on our site now. We'll have even richer filters on the new site when it goes live. So let's just say, like you're saying, you don't want to use this suggested meal platform. You want to do it yourself. You're still not alone. You can still work through those filters, whether it's allergen-based or dietary-based, and kind of get that meal those meals populated for you, and then you can pick them. Our system will then grab that and go, this person is X and Y. Keep that knowledge for all subsequent orders if they want to use us.
Did you build that software, or is that a third-party
Yes,
tool?
that is one of our proprietary systems we have in our custom platform now, that we worked with your custom solutions team to connect to Bold subscriptions and Bold Cashier.
To pull the data each time. That's cool. Hamid, how about I would say you fall in the subscribe and save model. Has it always been that way? And have you ever considered, and if not, have you ever considered different models? I guess with 2 SKUs, it kind of affects that a little bit, but.
Yeah, I think it's something we'll play with in the future as, we think about flavors potentially coming out for Liquid Death and what that looks like. There's definitely going to be a world where like building your own is going to be an option. And especially too, I think when you start introducing flavors, it's just so personal, right? So in the beginning, it's all about trial. You just want to know like which one you like the most. And then it's trying to figure out like which one you want to continually and constantly replenish. So I think there's an element of that to our, the water side of the business. On the merch side, it's something that we're also exploring, because we drop merchandise like a streetwear brand does. It's 2 drops a week, 8 drops in a month, anything from a t-shirt to we just sold a Liquid Death vending machine, right? So from $20 to $6,000. And so I think when it comes to the membership side of merchandise, like it's something we're going to play with, because we have people constantly buying t-shirts, hoodies, apparel. So we'll probably package that up in some way next year and say, hey, you get X amount of shirts in a quarter, you X amount of hoodies in a quarter, or hats, whatever, and you can kind of figure it out. So that is something that we're thinking about as merchandise becomes a huge accelerant for this business, not only just online, but as more people just see us in retail doors, it's their first touch point to the brand, right? So they're like, oh, I've never seen this. Like, what is Liquid Death next to pristine and pure Avion? Like, who is this? And so when they research the brand, they come to the site and they go, cool, they have merchandise. So we're getting a nice like connection of like digital and physical worlds as people hear about us in retail, or through our Live Nation partnership, where we're the exclusive water at every single Live Nation festival or venue in the country for the next 5 years. So that's another big part of it as well. Just getting more people interested in the brand. So merchandise and subscription and building a subscription thing for merchandise will become a bigger part. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there are t-shirt subscription companies doing extremely well. So there's no reason, like if you've got that brand and you've got that following, so it makes perfect sense. When you do launch flavors, I imagine there's going to be like goat blood or something, or so what's that?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have definitely some interesting names for sure.
Fun naming the flavors. Yeah. Okay. I want to walk through each of the sites really quickly here and just kind of go through the flow. And then I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on, let's start with Trae here. I got yours up. So this is just a preface, your existing site, you're going through a new launch right now. So I'm going to walk through what it's like to purchase a subscription, and feel free to kind of talk about, I always put in 90210.
Sounds good.
Talk about if there's anything different that you're changing, because I know this is the current one and it is changing. Feel free to like point out. So we talked about there's the chef's choice, and then there's the my choice. This is the pre-selected, can't choose. You just pick the number, and it's a selected meals. This is the one that you're seeing around 90% of subscriptions fall under is the my choice, right?
That's correct. So that's the good one. That's the good one.
So now, some of the things. So what are some of the challenges? I know like pricing across the country was one of the things.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the challenges of this type, and or talk me through the selection process and why this was built this way.
Sure. So, we when we started our subscription company back in 2009, there was no SaaS that existed. There was no subscription software that met our needs that existed. So we had to build everything. What you see here, this is all custom development, custom build logic and everything. So you touched on something about different pricing across the United States. Well, it's different pricing because the meals can be essentially different across the United States. So you pop your zip code in, it's going to pull up what meals are available in that area and what the pricing is for those meals, that area, shipping, everything dynamic. So you as a user only have the information you need. No overwhelming amount of information necessary. As you parse down the page, you'll notice we have different sections: main entrees, breakfast dishes, build a meal, which is a new kind of concept that we have in our plan, which allows you to pick quality proteins, grass-fed, wild-caught, free-range, which all of our proteins are, by the way. And then 2 packs of those with 2 packs of sides, whether carbohydrate sides or vegetable sides, for you to build kind of a meal that you want to have if you don't see something you want in the actual meal section, or you want to have a little more control. But during that process, you go down the page, you'll notice that all of our main meals, so the breakfasts and main entrees, they have different portion sizes. And we have different portion sizes because people have different needs. The vast majority of our customers will do the smaller portion size. You'll see it marked as fit. So for example, with that dish you're over right now, it would be a smaller portion size of free-range turkey sausage and a gravy breakfast bowl. But we offer a larger version for people that are a little more active in their lifestyle. They need a little more caloric intake, or they're looking to hit different macros. So giving you kind of the tools you need to succeed based off of a variety of needs that customer could have. Also, if you're ordering for a family, which some of our customers do, it allows you to get different portion sizes in one individual order, rather than being strict to I only get a lot smaller or only get a larger. You can have that variability in there if you're buying individually or for a group of people, your family. So people come in every single week. You'll notice in this process right here, you're on the new process, the new order flow. There's 2 menus. So you can start as early as next, you're in California, that'd be next Friday. Or you can start the following Friday. You have 2 weeks to start based on, when you
When the
actually want to get your first meal. Yeah. If you were to go to this site yesterday, Tuesday morning, you could get meals by the end of the week. We're keeping all of our fresh inventory and fresh production that close to the customer's delivery. Wow. So when you place your order, your food's going to be fresh and delivered to your door. So for the new order flow, you choose when you want to start. You can use your filters if you want to kind of remove stuff. For example, I don't eat dairy. So I would click the dairy option to take it off the menu. Pick my meals. And then once I pick my meals, you'll start to see them add in the mini cart there in the upper right. In our old site, which is what this is, there's a color coordination. So red means stop. So what that means is you've not hit the minimum to check out. As the button says, you got to pick 2 more. So you pick 2 more meals, whatever portion size you want. And once that hits, boom, you can go ahead and check out. You'll notice the $20 discount. We're not a heavy discount company, like I said, but every new order gets $20 off. It's just one of those things that we tell people when they ask, is like, we really believe in the product. This $20, you can look at any way you want to. That can be 2 free meals. That could be free shipping on a small order. Whatever you want. We believe that you're going to like this food so much. We're extending the olive branch of $20 for you to proceed. So once you've picked the meals, you can go ahead and proceed to checkout. And once in there, it's all standard stuff. You enter your username, password, all of your shipping information, and then you go. What is interesting about our system is that if you chose that first week, it gives you the option right there at checkout to choose the second week. And that's going back to something that Chris said that we also believe as well. You have to invest in the reoccurring ordering of a subscription customer. If you don't invest in it early, that's the very first touch point we have to remind them, hey, you can still pick again. If you don't invest there, you could potentially lose that reoccurring order because customers can skip and cancel anytime, like any subscription. We've seen that by putting that initiative on that confirmation page, we have a 25% conversion rate for customers ordering the second week at that time. So that is 2 orders at the first week immediately. And it's all based off listening to our customers. That's going through different wording. That's going through the right way to say things. It's a multitude of things.
Where do you, okay, well, 2 questions. On the $20 discount, have you split test that? Have you tested if how that affects conversion?
Oh yeah, we've done other ones. We've A/B tested several different conversion tactics for our customers, and we found that it falls down to one of 2 of the options. It falls down to either giving the value of that same value as free meals, or the dollars. The free will sometimes do better in some areas. The $20 will sometimes do better in other areas. We have the ability to really kind of curate that experience to be different for someone based off of top of funnel landing pages, things like that. But what you see right now is kind of what we've seen to be true and work fairly well.
I think it also just offsets the fact that you do have a shipping cost of $19.95. Like in that case, it definitely helps offset that perception.
Yeah, that initial one.
Yeah, exactly. And shipping is very different depending where we are in the United States. You guys all go through this. We're shipping food, Hamid, so you're shipping canned water. It all gets very heavy, and we have to ship our stuff cold at all times. So we're always working with the best mixture of product minimums and also the best mixture of shipping so that the customer kind of gets what they feel comfortable with to place that first order. A lot of data is constantly reviewed by myself and the marketing team, our executive team, to always make sure that we're putting the right mix of products, shipping, and minimums and maximums out there so that different parts of the United States feel like they're being met in a fair way.
What was the friction you were seeing with customers ordering, or what caused you to want to, like, you're going through a completely new launch, like a brand new from scratch site?
Yeah.
What was the, seems like a pretty good flow here, but obviously, what was the thought process there?
Good is only good until it's bad. So the ability to make it better and to improve and to scale accordingly how we want to becomes difficult. And difficult is measured in both time and dollars for a custom-based platform. So when we want to add in something new, it all has to be built custom. We want to change a flow or change a process. It's all something custom. So we made an initiative a couple of years ago to say, what is our biggest sticking point, not only for our customers, so giving the ability to offer them new things, new products, new subscriptions, wherever that is, but also what's an operational sticking point for us? Like, what is stopping us from growing even more than we're growing now? And it came down to having that right tech stack. So that was the big kind of precursor to why we decided to leave our custom platform, kind of dismantle it, and reconfigure it, blending in Shopify Plus, Bold Cashier, Bold Subscription, and then our custom suite of logistics and AI apps. It allows us to kind of give more offerings for customers. Remember, we're customer first. I know I keep saying that, but that's very important for anyone listening about food subscription. Is you got to think about what your customer needs first, and then give them the right tools. Because you can give them the wrong tools that get in their way. We've done that. We've made those mistakes and had to pivot. But the ability to quickly turn that off and on is something that we were lacking in our current system. So making the big migration that we're doing with Bold as our partner was a big part of that in getting on the right track for the future.
When you say tools get in the way, are you referring to giving customers maybe too much choice or too many options, or what did you mean by that? Is that okay?
So it's really good. You can give customers can say they want something. Let's use frequency, for example. Frequency is something that Bold offers out of the gate for all of their suites. Frequency is something we'd have to build into our platform. If a company doesn't sit there and understand what frequency means to their reoccurring revenue, and how to work with that for retargeting, remarketing, whether it's email, Facebook, whatever it is, operationally, and launches that, that is something that can really hurt that company. So when we have to make any decisions on what we give to a customer, we have to sit there and don't look at, let's try this out. We have to see, what does this mean post-launch for the next 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months? So that kind of limits what we can and can't do for offerings. Now, going back to that frequency analogy, if you want to do that in our new platform with Bold and Shopify, it's a switch. And then we can beta test it. We can segment that only customers with an LTV of 15,000, which is a large portion of our group, have ability to have a frequency of every other week, or every other week, or every third. That's something simple that we can add into our stack right now with the new platform without worrying about having to roll back development to remove it if it doesn't work well. That's where I talk about giving the right tools to the customer. You can give them too much and they can make their experience worse without knowing it. Yeah.
Chris, do you have any feedback or thoughts on the Metabolic experience?
Yeah, one thing I was wondering is, are you trying to force them down the path of the pick your choice? Because, I don't know, I'm sure you've done a lot of this research and using Hotjar and stuff. But you look at Chef's Choice, people are looking at $25 a day versus $10 a meal. You're sort of walking them down the path of My Choice versus Chef's Choice. So I don't know if that's better for your business to sort of do it that way, and that's why you're doing it. But I mean, one thing that every brand should be doing is looking at Hotjar and seeing, are people clicking in, or they're not even checking that one, right? And they're going right to My Choice because of the price differential there. Whether it's a savings or not, it's just you're kind of guiding them towards the cheaper one, right? And then, are they clicking Chef's Choice, going through a bunch of pages, then going to My Choice and noticing that, oh my God, I get to make all my selections myself. Because if you said 90% are My Choice, then I'd almost consider removing the Chef's Choice and optimizing the My Choice page better, pushing everybody down that flow. That would just be one suggestion as I look sort of kind of quickly at it. But no, I mean, look, everything else is good. By the way, you said you had an LTV of 15,000. Is that right?
We have that. I'm segmenting some of our customers. We have it broken down into a whole lot of it. I mean, there's this.
You know,
This question was earlier. We're talking about retention and how the success of a company is kind of measured by that retention. 40% of our revenue come from customers that have an LTV of $5,000 or more. So they're staying on our plan a long time. Like our retention in terms of continuous orders, now we're weekly, is 3 to 4 times more than any of our competitors in this space. So our customers stay on longer. Now we have a higher LTV because our price point's a little higher because of the box you're buying, but they stay on longer, even though there is a higher price point. And they also, for those that tend to pause, we have a lot of customers, a vast majority of them, and those that kind of fall into that very higher LTV are customers that will do our plan 4 or 5 months out of the year, and then they'll get off for a little bit and they'll get back on. It's very common for parents to place their plans on hold over the summer while they travel and do whatever. But as soon as August, September hits, they're riding that Metabolic Meals bus all the way to May, and then they're off for the summer. So it's quite common for our customers to use us that way, which gives us metrics where LTV is quite high. Now, Chris, you also said something that I really like that you hit on. Our current site right now does kind of drive to the option, pick one or the other. We use a lot of landing pages and a lot of the call to actions on our homepage to circumvent that and drop them directly on the My Choice page. The new site is not that way. We've had enough, research and enough time to build it to know that, no, you drop them on this main product. This is our bread and butter product because we're expanding beyond just that. But then also use something like Chef's Choice and other cultivated boxes as ancillary sales for retargeting or funnel-based advertising to kind of get them into the program and then maybe upsell or cross-sell them into My Choice after week 3, 4, or 5 on that subscription. But you bring up a very valid point. That's a sticking point that my team and I talk about, and we're kind of handheld on that because if you want to change that page, development comes in. The stickiness of having to build things because there was nothing that existed when we built it, and we were kind of legacied into it. Well, we spent the last year and a half, Jay, kind of going, nope, no more legacy stuff. We're going to just cut ties and move forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This conversation has been so good. I didn't even realize we are at time already. So Hamid had to jump off, which is okay. Just he posted in the chat there. I just noticed. He's feel free to follow him, and he's a great guy. If anyone has any questions, you can reach out to him on LinkedIn as well too. But no, the time just flew here. Let's kind of wrap it up then, and you know what, we'll have to do this again sometime because I don't want to keep going. We could probably talk for 2 hours. Trae, you're a wealth of knowledge.
I have a minute too. People have questions.
I have time. I gave you more than you needed, Jay, because this was, you asked me to give you a hand. I'm like, hell yeah, whatever you need.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's great. I think if there's a bunch that came in here that there's one. Someone's just asking right specifically to you, Trae, like how does Metabolic Meals integrate with Bold? Do you want me to take that one, or do you want to take that one? Or
I would love to hear how you describe the integration. Go for it.
Well, so we have a new version of Bold subscriptions, which Metabolic is using, and it was designed to be an API first subscription. So it's meant to basically allow brands to create any subscription experience on the front end of their store. It has an out of the box functionality, but and then there's a module to it, which we're calling a subscription. And it's essentially a builder engine. So our previous version 1, had this build a box. It was pretty, and there might be some brands on here using build a box. It was very rigid in the sense that it was built with features in mind, and the new version is built with extensibility and flexibility in mind. So Metabolic is actually one of the early adopters of it because this it's relatively new, and so they built out their own custom front end. The subscription builder kind of controls the logic and the frequency, but Metabolic controls everything about how it looks, how it connects with their AI engine, changes. So there's kind of like a number of modules at play. I don't know if did I describe that decently well or not?
Yeah, and the big takeaway for other brands who are going to want to use your product, it allows the customization that's being done and to be all behind the scenes stuff. So a lot of brands, Metabolic Meals is a good size brand. We have the ability to kind of do some of the stuff on our own. But if you're more of a smaller company, or you're trying to kind of build up your processes, what's cool about the version 2 of the Bold subscription app, and even Bold Cashier, which we're also using, is that it integrates into the Bold ecosystem behind the scenes, so that the regular app itself can update in a regular frequency that doesn't break any of the work you've already done and any of the connection that's done. Like, we're leveraging Shopify Plus. It works better for us as our main e-commerce, source of information. But that's not something you have to do when you're using the Bold stack. It can be anything else out there. But it allows a brand like myself that has very unique business rules that are very sensitive to time and product to fold into more of the rigid structure of Shopify, and the economies of scale that Bold Subscriptions is built, without having to worry about system failure or being up late at night and going, oh my God, did Authorize.net fail, or credit card biller? It gives you peace of mind, and also that ability to kind of build exactly what you want without being stuck in a box, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Or no pun intended, I should say.
Yeah. Let's just wrap this up here. Let me flip through a couple slides here. I just want to maybe show the one slide, because we talked about this earlier. There is, and this is across the board. This is not for everyone, but there is higher churn. Like the data shows that in the food and beverage industry, churn is higher. And there's different challenges, of course, with food and spoilage and storage and all kinds of things. Is there any bit of advice that you've learned over the years? I'll ask this to both of you guys, like Trae, that you've learned, or Chris, that you've observed, that might help a food and beverage subscription brand kind of combat churn or increase retention?
Chris, you want to go, or should I go first?
Combat churn or increase retention? I mean, like a lot of the standard things, like when someone's trying to cancel, ask why, and give them options based on what their answer is, right? So that's like critical for any business. It's, why do you want to cancel? Is it because you got too many meals? So like, let's pause it, or let's skip a week, or let's change the cadence. And I also think, like, given this space, depending on the product, sometimes it's okay to sell out. Like, don't overbuy inventory so that you're sitting on it and then it spoils. Sell out, build hype, build demand, and then order appropriately based on what the data is telling you. The data is telling you to order.
Yeah, there was something said earlier about, how it's really hard to get into food for subscription. And the biggest hurdle for getting into food is actually the manufacturing side. You got to have those in place first before you can do anything. And depending on what you're selling, that's all going to come down to you paying attention to basically the operations. But when it comes to being able to kind of grow that brand and work with, that retention rate with customers, you got to remember that food is personal. So you got to listen to what your customers are saying. Very similar to what Chris was bringing up earlier. If they do want to call and cancel, find out why. That is a learning experience for you to take away. You can turn that into a way to save, or you can turn that into a way to not lose the next customer. It's very important. Customers will also be very clear what you want to get from them. If you talk with them, do a good job of knowledge extraction. We've actually been able to incorporate a level of a non-subscription into our subscription model by listening to customers. It's like, look, I want to be in a subscription, but I want to order when I want to order, and I don't want to log in and skip things. Okay, great. We heard that enough, and we built that level of control within our subscription so customers can have that. So the big takeaway is, if you want to really increase your retention rate and you want to be in food for subscription, you got to listen to your customers. You got to pay attention to your production schedule. You got to pay attention to your operations. You got to pay attention to the weather. That's a big one. But basically, it's kind of simple to say, but being on the ball about all those hurdles and making notes and adjusting when necessary.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I am a member of multiple food and beverage subscriptions. and the ability, the ones that I stick around with are the ones where I get an email and it says, hey, here, smoothies. These are the smoothie flavors that are going out. We took the liberty of changing 2. If you don't like it, you can just click this and we won't change anything. If you don't reply to this email, we will change it. So they're introducing new flavors while giving control. And I'll probably subscribe to this smoothie company forever because of that. I don't have that frustration of what's my login? Oh, how do I go change it? So, well, let's end it there. This has been really good. Do you guys want to just quickly give your information about? I mean, we had it up earlier, but just people are joining in late. Where can people learn more about Metabolic Meals? And then Chris, maybe a little bit about SUBTA.
Sure. The best way to learn about Metabolic Meals is mymetabolicmeals.com, or you can find us on any social media platform. We're really there. I gotta say, we have one of the best Instagram pages in food. It's fun and informative, and if you like looking at food all day, which is kind of how Instagram started, you're really gonna like going to this page because our food shots are beautiful, and that's all real food, by the way, not doctored. That food was eaten after the photo shoot, sometimes by me. Wow. I'm not gonna lie. So check us out on Instagram to really get good product shots.
Awesome.
And I dropped
Chris
in there. Yeah, SUBTA.com, SubSummit.com. SubSummit's going to be September 21st to the 23rd. We got amazing speakers, everybody from Ipsy to BoxyCharm to the New York Times. It's the largest event for D2C subscriptions, so hope to see you all there. I also post some cool content on Instagram, which is at ChrisG So you can go ahead and follow there if you'd like. And Jay, as always, it's amazing chatting with you. We've done this half a dozen times now, and it's always awesome. So Trae,
you too, man.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Thanks a ton for having me on.
All right, guys. Take care.
Right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jay. Have a good one. See you guys.
Thanks.